You're watching Betting Weekly Fight Life on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome to Betting Weekly Fight Life. I'm your host, Kyle Andrew, joined once again by resident fight expert, Mr. Paul Hughes. Paul, after a 3-for-3 sweep on bet predictions last week, we are back, and the UFC has returned to Brazil for the first time in a little while with a card that is very, very much centered around a Brazilian hero in the main event.
Yeah, quick turnaround for Charles since the brutal KO Ilya did in the summer, but it's always good to see him fighting. And yeah, I have some big name value at the top of the card, first three fights. After that, not so much, but yeah, it's it should be the main card should deliver anyways.
Yeah, it very much could. They're not going to put non-potential action fights down in Brazil, but as I said off the top, this is very much centered around returning the hero home. So let's begin. Let's get right into the first fight, or the last fight of the night, the main event. Charles Oliveira taking on Mateusz Gamrot, who took this fight on very, very late notice. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not how long was it? Like 3 weeks ish?
Just over 3 or something.
The standout point for me in that whole regard is that he was in Poland and he was not in camp. Obviously, he trains out of America. I think he's with Kaan or Gilbert. I can't remember one of them. I remember them talking about it pretty intensely. But they train with him. Obviously, he does camp over there. And he came over to America to start training camp. Then he went to Rio. And then he came back to go to the Contender Series in Vegas. And then he went back to Rio. So that's a lot of travel miles on his clock over the last couple of weeks, whilst also preparing for the biggest fight of his career against Oliveira and Rio, which, you know, you got to take that into account somewhat, whether it's like a little bit or you just can't skip over it. Like, especially the show, he's taking on short notice as well. And Oliveira, he was meant to fight someone who stylistically is a big, like, physique of like big Muay Thai, like hits hard. And coming off a KO loss, I was ready to pick Fiziev to sleep Oliveira there. But now it's like Gamrot not really having that much power. He's very telegraphed on the feet compared to Fiziev. And, you know, if on the feet now, Oliveira's probably went from being the underdog on the feet to being a huge favorite on the feet, which is going to play a big factor, I think.
Yeah, Gamrot on the feet, really all he can offer is volume, I think, coming off of and if that, and you know, it's tough to offer volume against someone who is just frankly a better striker and a more dangerous striker than you, which Charles very much is. Charles is a very complete fighter. Obviously, he suffered that brutal KO loss. You and I have discussed this before. Is he back too soon? Well, it doesn't matter now because he fights in Rio this weekend. And so we can only go with what we know about these guys. And the bottom line is, on a full camp, Charles is probably the slight favorite here. On a short camp with all that the travel thing that we have discussed with other fights, and we've seen the results of that, of someone being a little too ambitious, weighing in his backup, doing all the travel. Was that Barajo? Who was that? Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of factors going on here. The crazy part about it is the biggest question mark around Oliveira coming into this fight was that brutal KO, but that's not really a concern here. So while he was preparing for a very different fight and while he was hesitant to take this guy as a replacement, it might actually be in his best interest.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't really want to like change it because he's been training for a striker. Now he's like, all right, now I'm training for someone who's solely a grappler. Don't really want to fight Gamrot, but if he's the only one, then I'll do it. So, you know, props to Charles there. Kind of looked like he was ducking him for a bit at first, but when you actually like sit down and think about what he's doing, you know, it's understandable. But I think this is really like first of all, I'll say I really want Gamrot to win. Like, just like Polish, all the Polish fighters, they always bring it.
Yeah,
you know, he's an elite wrestler. Sprawls are incredible. He's not scared of anyone, fight anyone, any time frame. One of those fighters you have to root for. And then Oliveira, you know, I think he's kind of stylistically got all the tools to beat Gamrot, which is sad because I think Gamrot probably at some point in his career should have had a title shot by now. Maybe after that Sarukian win in 5 rounds, like he was there, but now it's, you know what's going to happen here. Gamrot's going to want to get the takedowns, and Oliveira has some of the best front chokes we've ever
he's
seen.
Gonna catch him in a gilly.
I don't know how many guillotines he had. He has I think it was 5 or 6 I was looking at just in the UFC, more in his career, or maybe that's just in his career. But he has tons, and whenever you're getting around his hips, Gamrot kind of doesn't he puts his head in some stupid places too, which isn't a great look. And we've seen that with Arman against Oliveira. Arman got caught in 2. All it takes is one from Joe, 1 second of mistiming something against Oliveira, and with how good he is, how experienced he is, he can lock something up. So I think it's going to be, that's a very live. So plus 300's very good for Oliveira. But also Gamrot gets hurt by everyone and dropped by everyone. And Charles, his Muay Thai came on incredible amounts at the start of his career. And he's dropping, he's finishing, he's hurting everyone. I think he dropped and hurt Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler, finished Chandler by their strikes as well. He is an elite striker as well. So I think Gamrot's kind of banking Oliveira kind of being over the hill now, I think, or just getting 25 minutes of grappling control, which I don't think
that's not going to happen.
And Oliveira off his back as well. He's going to be throwing up these triangles. He's going to be looking.
He likes being on his back. He'll lay there like a turned over turtle, and wait for it. So it's not. I don't know that you want to be on or even think about being on the mat with this guy for 25 minutes because he's slippery, man.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I think if you like Gamrot, you could take sub as well.
Sure, because that's really his only path. I don't see him winning a decision against Chuck. He's not likely to KO him unless we don't actually. Decision. Yeah, I don't either. I just, with the hometown nature of it, Oliveira's absolutely amped up for this fight. He has not been able to, he's talked about fights in Brazil. He wants a fight in Brazil. He has received a hero's welcome. He's not going out here for a 48-47.
He's undefeated in Brazil. I think he's 16-0, someone said.
How many of those in the UFC do you know?
I don't know. It's a fair couple,
but it's something in all. Yeah. So, because he has 11 losses on his record. Obviously, a lot of them came in the UFC, but he doesn't lose in front of his own. And the thing I like about, we'll get into an angle I like here, is 20 out of 23 Charles's UFC wins came by finish. Right. And
he doesn't fight to go to a decision. We've seen that across this fight. Do you know what I mean? Charles' decision, I feel like at this stage, you've kind of just got to throw that out, especially in front of his home crowd as well. I think he that extra motivation, he's going to want to perform as well, as we've seen before, as I said, undefeated in Brazil. But plus 300.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I was just about to quote the odds of the sub and the KO lines and the finish lines.
Well, the other thing to think about here, too, is in this division especially, his path to another title fight for Charles is extremely difficult, if even possible. He's not going to get there by winning decisions. There's just no chance. He has to fight his way back to a potential title fight, hope for a late cancellation where he can sub in at this point, because this is a stacked division. It's very difficult to see your way through to the top, and he's already been absolutely flatlined by the division's champion. Tough path for him. He is not looking for a decision here at all.
No, and that's why I like Charles to win by finish. That's my official pick on this one. I think, as I said, I think he can KO Gamrot on the feet. I think he hits hard. He's again, his knees, elbows, everything 1-2 at ranges. He hits hard. He's going to be coming and rooting for the finish. He doesn't fight to win a decision, which is always good when you're betting someone to win by finish. And then them chokes, man, whether he's off his back or Gamrot shooting in or he takes Gamrot's back, everything's live here. He could land a takedown himself and sub him. You don't know. I think he has many different ways to win this fight, where Gamrot has very few. So yeah, I'll take Charles to win by finish. Plus 145 at Bet Rivers. I think it's a pretty good price.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more on this, because this is actually what I wrote for the Betting Weekly newsletter this week, and that was my pick because
we haven't talked about this. So.
No, honestly, this is the first time we've discussed this, and we sometimes do discuss our articles we write for it. But this is my pick basically because I think he subs him. I think he catches Gamrot being too aggressive with the wrestling and leaving his neck out. but I can't discount his ability to knock him out on the feet, or at least knock him down and ground and pound him to put on that show for the home crowd. So I was somewhat uncomfortable taking Charles any other way, or just taking him at the -110. I like a finish here, and I agree with you completely. Let's turn our attention to the co-main event on the night, which, this is an interesting one because you have Deiveson Figueiredo coming in against Montel Jackson, and Figueiredo had that really, really bad knee injury earlier this year. That was earlier this year. It was only a few months ago.
Against Sandhagen, yeah, it wasn't a great look, was it? It was just that fight was kind of concerning when I was looking at the Figueiredo side. Like, he did not look. It's like he was just hunting for this like some sort of knee bar. I don't know what he was. I don't know what he was doing, and that wasn't him, which kind of concerns me going into this fight, because on paper here, like, I think, I like Montel Jackson. Like, when I was taping this, I wrote it down. He's hot, he's huge, he's long, he's powerful. Have you seen the size of his hands?
Yes. Yeah.
His hat, for anyone watching, he's got the same hand, like the same glove size as Francis Ngannou. So if he gets wrist control, it's like Francis Ngannou's got wrist control on you. Like, it is, and there's about 8 weight classes separating them. So it is just genuinely insane. Like, when he's got his hands on one of these like smaller fighters' forearms, it looks like he's grabbing the shoulder, like, with how long his arms are.
It does. It's like he's got weird proportions. Like, even just look in that photo. His arm reach is crazy, and then you put those absolute slabs of beef at the end of it, and in this division, here's what I have in my notes right here. It feels like these guys are on opposite sides of the track career-wise right now. Jackson's coming in on 6 straight wins, I believe. He's had 5 canceled fights in that stretch. And honestly, I meant to look this morning what all those cancellation reasons were for, but it doesn't matter. They weren't losses. I don't know how many times he pulled out or how many times it was his opponent or whatever. Figueiredo, he's put on some great fights. This has the potential to me to be a pretty good fight, but it could also go. I just don't know that he's not riding the storm out here a little bit, and I think his best days are truly behind him. It's a tough call, but this is a really, really quick re-entry into the UFC after having a ligament torn in your knee by Sandhagen.
Yeah, his cancel fights, his 2 biggest, hardest fights, Said Nurmagomedov and Farid Basharat, the opponents pulled out both of them, so he is like. So it's not like he's afraid of any competition. He's ready for this moment. I think he's been that for a long time. But he's big, he's powerful, as I was saying. Like, we seen he jabbed Damon Blackshear and then KO'd him in 20 seconds. Like, that was insane. The thing is, with Figgy, it's the kind of the same as you were mentioning with Charles. Like, he has to win this, or he's probably done at this level.
Yes.
Because he's 37 years old, not getting any younger. He's been a champ twice, I think it was. He lost it, won it back. He kind of had to win the Corey fight, I think, if he wanted to get back on that picture. But if he loses here, then I think there's no route back to the picture, and I think he knows that. I wanted to take the Figueiredo props, as we were talking about, but that Sandhagen fight, like, I did not know what was going on, like, at all with him. What I kind of landed on was I didn't end up making anything official, but I think just taking the under 2.5, you can't be that wrong.
Right. I guess, yeah, that's what it says there. So you have no official play on this one.
No, I don't.
I was looking at, I'm going to lay off this one. I'm not even going to, this is not going to be a tempting pizza bet for me either. I'm laying off this one, period. I was kind of looking at Montel Jackson by decision, but I don't know that that's going to happen either. I just don't see anything on here I'm in love with. I don't know. It's his path to finishing it's there. I just don't know where Figueiredo is. I'm not 100%. I think this is the referendum fight for him because a knee injury is a knee injury, right? It ended early, so I don't know. He wasn't going to win that fight against Sandhagen, but I don't know how he would have lost it. So I'm just laying off this one as well. I feel it's just.
I think Figgy can get takedowns though, so maybe like Figgy sub can be something if you want to flyer on the ex-champ, if you don't think Montel Jackson's all that, but I think he's a good prospect. He's got good hands, long, powerful.
Okay, let's keep moving on here. Good old Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. I love Alvarez, man. I like watching that guy fight.
Who doesn't, man? Who
Yeah.
doesn't watching Joe Alvarez fight? Just pulling up this year. My notes there kind of went missing for a second, but
That's okay.
yeah, the amount of money Alvarez has took over the last few days is actually crazy.
Yeah.
But I can't say I disagree with any of it. I was looking at
Yeah.
taking a minus 300 and being like, wow, this is better. And then now he's minus 670. And he probably go off.
It's really kind of strange. Yeah.
It's incredible. I think the UFC have been pushing him so hard across all the socials this week, and they kind of know that he is the goods. Like, a lot of people kind of don't say, oh, like his loss to Armin was a bad one. On the first takedown Armin landed, I think Joel said this in some Spanish interviews, he broke his rib, like 2 of his ribs. So when he was on bottom, he could just not get up. Like there was no getting up for him. So he kind of took a beating on the ground off Armin, and he wasn't able to throw up as many subs as he would off his back. But yeah, that's kind of the story there for Alvarez. But other than that, his career, he's a dangerous man. Every single shot he throws, he's trying to finish you. And yeah, I think this is going to be a long night for Vicente Luque. He's kind of fighting just a big.
I don't think it's going to be that long.
Yeah, he could be in the hospital for a while though, so it might be.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be like an extended stay night, basically. Yeah, I don't think this goes well for him.
It's just a bigger, better version of himself, to be honest. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, dangerous submission artist, hits hard. Like,
I don't know if this is a coincidence on the matchmaker's part, but Alvarez reminds me a ton of Charles Oliveira. He can kind of beat you from any angle, similar body type, and just he's Luque's coming in off of 2 straight fights that ended in an anaconda choke. One he won, one he lost to Kevin Holland, and that's on the table here for sure. Like, because Alvarez can, or if not that, another sub. Because I look at the numbers. He's plus 180 to sub a guy. He's plus 148 to KO, TKO, DQ the guy. They don't know how he's going to do it either, but if you look at those numbers, he's going to finish it. That seems to be the consensus here. You know, it's a fight. Anyone can win it with one shot. But, man, Alvarez is the heavy favorite here for a very good reason.
Alvarez got a chin on him too. Like, no one really knows that. I think Luque is drawn really, really thin here, as the odds suggest. Like, I was ready to make a really big bet on Alvarez at the start of the week. With the lines right now, I'm still happy to play some sort of prop on him. But, yeah, the money line becomes untouchable at this point. But yeah, I think Luque's chin's pretty done at this stage. It looked like Holland was almost finishing him with every shot he landed on him. Like, it was pretty sad to see. Like, and then he obviously, he dropped him in the first and then dropped and subbed him in the second. Or I think he hurt him bad and then Luque shot in and he wrapped something up. I'm trying to remember that transition exactly, but something like that. The thing I like with Alvarez here, and it's kind of the angle I'm going to go with, is every time he hurts someone, he wraps up their neck and then he'll still be throwing elbows and like knees in the clinch, but he's wrapping their neck up. And if he can take it down to a dart or an anaconda, some sort of front choke, he jumps guillotine or anything, he will do that because he is a submission artist at the end of the day. That's his way. He has 17 wins of his 22 wins come from submission. Like, he is a very, very good submission artist. And I think Luque is kind of too tough for his own good in that regard.
Yeah. 100%.
And I feel like he's going to get hurt really early in this fight and he's going to end up shooting in and then Alvarez is going to latch something up. And the only thing that I'm kind of worried about is maybe if Luque's chin's completely done, Alvarez could just put him out cold, which is kind of where I'm going to kind of head my bets here. But I think Alvarez round 1 subs probably the way to go, like some rendition of that. So what we ended up doing here is we've ended up splitting half a unit on each. So we took him to win by sub at plus 180 and we've took Alvarez to win in the first round at plus 125. So yeah, it's kind of, I think it's going to be a round 1 sub. I think the value's on the sub. I think he hunts for submissions and I think the line should be flipped in the KO and sub. And I think Luque just can't really stand in front of him for that long. I think he's going to get hurt because Alvarez is going to push a pace and he's going to land and there's nothing you can do about that. So Luque is going to get hurt and finished in the first round for me, but I just don't know which. I think it's going to be a sub, but just in case it's a KO, we get our money back and a bit of profit on top. But I think more than likely it's going to be a submission.
It's not often we're given a fight where it's not who's going to win, it's how. And that's really the debate here. Again, it's a fight. Anyone can win. We may be made to eat crow, but I sincerely doubt it here. I can't see it. Let's keep moving on, Paul, throughout the card here. I got to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure of the correct pronunciation of, is it Jhonata?
Jhonata Diniz, yeah.
Jhonata Diniz and Mario Pinto. These odds are pretty tight on here, but I'm a little torn. What do you think is going to happen here? Because, you got Mario Pinto. Yeah, okay, you KO'd Austin Lane. Great. Great. Paul,
did Diniz KO Austin Lane as well?
Yeah, he did, but that was a little while back. But when that's your only resume point, what am I supposed to make of you? Because Austin Lane is not a UFC level fighter.
No, this is really, when you see over 1.5 at -230 in a heavyweight fight, it's actually kind of embarrassing. In all honesty, unless it's some high level like Tom Aspinall versus John Jones, where it's going to be more of a chess match. Both of iron chin. This is going to be some really low output, low 1-2 low kick fight, and it's going to be pretty boring. I think Pinto probably has the grappling upside, but I don't think it's going to go that way. But if it does, you'd favor him. And I think Diniz kind of hits harder and is slightly better on the feet. So that's as much as a breakdown I think you're going to get. It's going to be a pretty boring fight. I wouldn't. This is kind of I know that a lot of people say this with some of the WMMA fights or something, but this is kind of the fight where you take the fight off and you just come back and see what happened. Because I don't think this is
take the dog out for a dump or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there's just not a lot of meat on the bone with this one here. It's hard for me to get a read on anyone that's only beaten Austin Lane. I don't care about Austin Lane in the UFC. So rare. I just don't. I have no. He shouldn't be there, to be perfectly honest with you. He should be somewhere else. They keep throwing him out there. But, Diniz has only ever lost to one top heavyweight, Marcin Tybura. But so what is his resume either, right? He could beat him on the strikes. I could see him getting a finish here, but if he's not willing to press for that finish, he's just going to probably win this by decision. But yeah, like you said, I'm laying off this one as well. I assume you have no official bet.
No, I don't have anything here. Well, let's root for Pinto because he's 10-0. It might be a decent prospect. Who knows? But
but that's the other thing too, because he's only beaten Austin Lane. Maybe he has actually improved significantly in the off time since then. But let's just move on to the next fight. Ricardo Ramos and Kaan Ofli. Again, pretty close odds here on this one. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think Ramos is a decent favorite. It's pretty fine. The thing I don't like about Ramos, he's a bit of a quitter, as we've seen in a few of the fights. For sure, I feel like some people might say it's unfair to say, but I think if you watch his fights, he kind of is I'm gassed. I'm not going to win this fight, and kind of looks for some sort of a way out. Which, it's not. That it just happens, I mean, not everyone can be the most determined championship level mindset in every fight, but I think Kaan Ofli's not UFC level at the same time. So looking at this, I was trying to look at some Ramos sub angle, but I couldn't really justify playing plus 390 when, as I said, if he doesn't do it very early, I think he could gas himself out, and Ofli might be able to take over just based on being alive and having more in the tank. But yeah, I think this is another one where, as we said, the top of this card's pretty good, and then after that it kind of skids down.
We're petering off in a hurry here.
I don't have much to add on this fight either. It's a pass from me, and I'm gonna
read my notes from this one, and then we will move on. My notes are: two fighters that generally lose, but someone has to win, I suppose. Ramos has lost by guillotine choke twice recently, and Ofli has won recently by a guillotine choke. So I guess that's what will happen. I don't know. That's literally what I wrote. And I don't think that's what's going to happen. Who knows, right? It's just not. But I think it's kind of funny that we're sitting here saying this, and now it's probably going to end up being the fight of the night somehow.
We'll see.
That was definitely sarcasm. It obviously will not be that. Let's move on. Luque Almeida, Michael Aswell Jr. Again, at the very least, they've paired up people with really close lines between them, Paul.
Yeah. I kind of like Michael Aswell Jr. I liked him more when he's about minus 120-ish, but he's kind of took some money, which I think is fair. He's 25, decent prospect. I mean, he lost in the Contender Series against Bogdan Grad, and Balagiocki came in. I think he's about plus 400 underdog, Michael Aswell. He kind of made that closer than it should have been, which, you know what I mean? I was kind of impressed by him on debut because when I was watching his most recent fight on Fury, I was thinking, wow, like, Balagiocki should kind of have his way. But I think I've kind of realized Balagiocki's not as good as we thought he was, that type of way. But Michael Aswell, he's kind of good at everything. I think he has the grappling upside if it goes that way. I think Almeida could like latch something up, but I think Aswell is what, as far as it goes to control time and stuff, he can kind of have that. But yeah, I feel like it's going to take place on the feet though, as it said. And yeah, I feel like minus 143. I think, as we said, if it's going to be close striking match. I think Aswell's small favorite's pretty fine. I think it probably is some sort of decision for either of them. But yeah, I think that they're both pretty tough. I'm looking at Lucas Almeida. Has he been? Yeah, I'm trying to remember him getting like KO'd. He got KO'd by Andre Fili.
Yeah, and he's lost 3 of his last 4. I don't have the breakdown written what that was. Aswell's lost 2 of his last 3, so they're going to both come in. They both need to win this fight. Like, that much is clear. But the how is not particularly interesting.
Yeah, he's been KO'd once in his career. So yeah, as I said, I feel like they're both pretty tough in that regard. I haven't seen I wasn't able to find much on Lucas Almeida's career before the UFC. I think he is probably like low level UFC level though. So yeah, it's not really much, as we said, this fight. I think Aswell's going to win. If I had to take one side, it'd probably still be Aswell. I was more likely to play him at minus 120, but yeah, minus 143. I think I'll pass now and just watch this one from the side.
I think that's a completely fair review, Paul. So we've covered all of the main card fights now too, but you actually had one other pick you would like to discuss on the undercard.
Yeah, it's Mezquita versus Alexieva. Mezquita, she is like when I was looking through her BJJ credentials, is absolutely ridiculous. Let me just read some of this off to you. So she's won 24 titles at black belt level in 4 major gi championships. She has 10 gold medals as of Worlds 2021. She holds the record for the most IBJJF World Championship titles at black belt level 9 and is a member of the IBJJF Hall of Fame. She subbed Mackenzie Dern during that time. She subbed numerous high-level jiu-jitsu girls, and she has, when it comes to Alexieva on the mat, she's not great. Mezquita is going to get control time, and if she gets any control time, this is probably going to be kind of insta-sub territory. So I know we see that in WMMA, like there is a lot of submissions if it goes to some sort of finish, and Mezquita kind of, that's her entire game here. So I think her win by sub. It's currently plus 100. It's the best price in the land at Bet Rivers, which was quite generous. So I think if we're taking this here, I unless Mezquita is just a complete fraud, I don't think she's going to have chances in it. If she gets any chance, like at any point in the fight, it's probably the fight over because, as I said, listen to those credentials. She's one of the greatest women to ever grapple.
Yeah, that was a resume and a half you just read off there. That was that's impressive. It's impressive.
She is impressive, and I think, she's going to have she's 5-0 in MMA. I think she's going to get a lot more subs in her career now in the UFC. And Alexieva, I think they're kind of setting her up to get, a big finish. She's Brazilian. They're putting her on this Brazilian card for a big finish. Arena Alexieva, she's 5-3. Like, let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's not fighting a high-level woman here. I think we kind of know what the UFC is doing. So, yeah.
And it's also setting them up. Yeah, that's a really good pull, Paul. Honestly, I'm going to load up on that today as well before they see this and worsen those odds for us. But it's also like UFC's got a ton of interest in building up the women's game, especially in a place like Brazil. And to showcase this woman like this is a very, very smart placement on their part. The home crowd, it's going to be electric for them. And I think you've really found something on the card there that's worth laying some points on. Do you want to quickly review this week's picks before we get going?
Yeah, so we have in the main event, we have Oliveira to win by finish. I think that was plus 145. Then we have Alvarez to win in round 1 plus 125, and then Alvarez to win by submission. We've got half a unit on each of those, so it's a full unit play across those two lines. And then we have Mezquita by sub on the prelims, plus 100 against Alexieva. So yeah, we have 3 players. We went 3 for 3 last week, so hopefully we can do the same again.
Great stuff, Paul. Thanks for joining us once again here on Betting Weekly Fight Life, brought to you by Betting Weekly Studios and, of course, Bet Rivers. See you guys next week.
Thanks for watching Betting Weekly Fight Life on the Bet Rivers Network.